As a final question to leave the audience with, okay, so let's say someone took the 40 minutes or however long we've been recording to watch this podcast and learn about CRA, and now they're very worried about the regulation and would like to get started with complying with it. What do you think would be then the first steps? Like what do you think is a good action plan maybe? So where can they get started? Maybe Victor, you can start.
Well, I would say that if you are worried, first of all, you need to double check and get a proof that you have the reasons to worry about. But if your product falls within the CRA, so sometimes it's not that straightforward. Of course, you might have, I don't know, home smart cameras that record a baby and also had a speaker, so you are able to connect it to your phone and speak with your baby, and it's just no-brainer. Yes, of course, you have a CRA scope, or you might have a firewall. However, you might be producing some kind of microconductor that is part of the bigger device, and you are not explicitly sure about this. In this case, it's a good idea just to send an email to the regulator in your country. They are already regulator responsible in Germany, in Sweden, and in a number of other countries, just explicitly to ask them, hey guys, we have the device A, this is a functionality, could you please confirm whether we fall within the CRA obligation? And if yes, what is our class? As Doug mentioned earlier, I think you definitely, in this case, you will fall somewhere under unclassified, but still you will have the proof. If this is the case, now you need to worry. Now it's time to understand how you do your device, and a good starting point will be an assessment. And typically, we prefer to start with 2 assessments. In this case, first is pure SAM assessment, just understand the software development process, and also all other matching pieces. You already, after the assessment, you already know something about the governance, incident response, about security testing, whether there is SAST in place, how you developed it, a lot of things related to CRA. And then you can proceed with more specific CRA-focused activities, like, I don't know, whether you have the proper process for this secure vulnerability disclosure. It's a specific CRA stuff. You need to have the page on the website, email for researchers, whatever. But starting with SAM assessment is a good point from my end. And it's really easy and straightforward, because so far I haven't seen open checklists, official checklist for CRA assessment. Maybe, as I mentioned earlier, in June they will appear. Then it's even easier. You can take the official checklist. Depending on the complexity and quality of that document, you may go with it. But until June, I think that SAM is a good starting point to start.
Yeah, I think I agree. It would very much depend on the size of your organization. If you're a very small organization or a very large one. If you're a very large one, you probably already have a compliance department. Hopefully it's not only lawyers, and there's actually some application security people there as well. But yeah, they will probably take ownership of this. And the first thing is always inventorizing what you already have. You could be using another framework to inventorize what you have other than SAM. Maybe you're using DSOM or BSIM or any of these other frameworks. That's fine. Then start from there. There is also mappings in between these frameworks, which OWASP provides, so you can eventually end up at the CRA target posture as well, if you want. If you're a very small organization, then probably you want to do the SAM assessment yourself. It's not, if it's just you or a small team, let's say you can feed your company with 2 pizzas, then probably you can do the SAM assessment with like in an afternoon. But just get everybody around the table, get 2 pizzas, and collect all the information, and then you know where you're at. Somewhere in between, when the organization is larger but doesn't have a dedicated application security team, I think that's the kind of case that you call in an expert like Victor and Sigma, and you get them to help you with this.
Yeah, so I think it's depending on what profile of people you have. Not only about the size. So some sometimes companies have really strong engineering background, like incredibly strong engineering background. But for them, cybersecurity, threat modeling, risk, vulnerability management, all those things are absolutely new world. So if it is the case for you, maybe it's better to ask someone for advice or support. But still, first of all, just get the confirmations that you are in scope. Maybe you are lucky or unlucky. Unlucky in terms that you are not in the scope of CRA and you will not put that level of efforts in making the product more secured, which in the end of the day is beneficial for everyone, having more secured, connected products on the market.
Okay, great. Well, with that being said, I think we're finished here. Thank you very much, Dag and Victor, for joining today for the podcast episode.